So looking at the top of the page, letter C, general instructions. This is an area that, and this top line here is something, if you got a highlighter, it might be worth highlighting it. Keep in mind, we are required to provide the most complete information possible on the CTR. There's a lot of confusion about what that actually means because there are some required fields that are on your CTR, and you'll see the little asterisk on there that says this field is required and you can't submit the CTR electronically unless you've completed that portion of the form. However, what the guidance actually says, or what the instructions actually say, is even if it's not a required field, you shouldn't just be leaving it blank. In fact, it's supposed to be the most complete and accurate information that you have. The most complete information possible should be entered into that CTR. So certain things like required, like telephone numbers or email addresses, if it's in the possession of the bank or the financial institution, wherever you're at, technically it should be getting into the CTR. So in other words, if there's a situation where you're filing a CTR on behalf of an individual and you're listing in their information, and maybe you don't have ready access to their email address. It's something that you have to dig for. Well, technically, perhaps that individual actually has online account opening. So the bank has access to that customer's email address. And if that's the case, it's not how easy it is for the individual completing the form to get access to that information. The question is, does the bank have in their custody, or do they have documentation of that person's email address? And if they do, or if the bank does, it should be making its way into the CTR. So keep that in mind. It's not about whether or not it's easily accessible to the person completing the form. It's whether or not you actually have that information at the financial institution. Also, if you're going through, take a look at number 2 at the bottom there. When the information is not readily available, so in other words, maybe you do not have the information necessary to complete that form, then you can leave the non-critical fields blank. But again, if it's something that is just inconvenient for you to get a hold of, that it does not meet that exception. If it's not readily available to the bank.